So back in the 80s as a teenager, I did play Dungeons and Dragons, but our little group of friends, we played the heck out of Gamma World. This is the first edition, I think, of Gamma World. I don't know if it's the first printing or not, but it's way early on, right? And it says 78, 81. I probably got this in 81. But look at that. Art is cool. I mean, this brings back memories, right? Because we used to. I had these friends from England. Well, they were basically American. Their parents were from England, and these two guys, Mike and Simon, they were my best friends, and their sister was my girlfriend. So I used to spend a ton of time at their house. We didn't live far from each other, and I remember their mom used to make curry rice, and we used to eat that, just tons of it. Play Gamma World all night long, and watch wrestling on television. I mean, this just brings back tons of memories, and they were nice, fun memories too. Gamma World, science fiction role-playing game. This was a by James Ward and Gary Jaquet. This was oh well, it says here third printing, right, 1981. This was as far as role-playing games were concerned, not a difficult role-playing game. In fact, let me move these. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons was more involved than this. So I remember being in school. I remember when I first got this, my mom drove me to a hobby shop. In fact, these guys used to play a war game called Blue Max, which was these airplanes, and they played it on this huge table. And I remember my mom drove me to this hobby shop for me to pick this up, and they were playing Blue Max, and I hung around for a bit and I watched. But eventually, I bought Blue Max, which is a World War One. You know, not unlike Wings of War, but for you war gamers out there, you might know what Blue Max is, but that was I had a lot of fun with that game too. But these were all, because I was a kid, so to me, all these guys were old, right? They might have been in their late 20s or 30s or something, but to me, they were all these old guys playing Blue Max on this huge table in this hobby shop. And this was in Dallas, Texas. And it was great. And then I picked this up, and I remember being in school and just reading all this, because I started being the DM, I guess, the dungeon master, or whatever you would call it in this game. But I remember reading this while I was in school, and creating characters, and so I learned how to do all that. And then one fine weekend, we just went for it, and we played a ton of this. So when non-player characters or creatures are encountered, 2 dice, 2d6 are rolled, and the following table is consulted, right? Whether it's extremely hostile and may attack, or friendly, helpful, enthusiastic, and loyal. So you had a bunch of charts. That's what this stuff here is. But again, I remember this not being difficult to learn. And by the way, Dual Brain Games, okay? The name of this YouTube channel, the name of my puzzle and games website came from this. Dual Brain games. It's in here. I don't know where, but I would like to find it because that's where it came from. Because it had this game. Your characters would get a lot of mutations, right? So you could roll and get these weird mutations. So sometimes an NPC, would be in the adventure and it might have a mutation, but I think, well, I know for sure Dual Brains is in here somewhere. Let's see, and I don't know. Now I'd like to find it. I think, or what is it? I think it was called Dual Brain. Let me see if I can find it, but this is just cool. And it's so nice to flip through it. Here's more mutations, right? Complete mental block. I remember some. There it is, Dual Brain. Number 9, right? Dual Brain. And that's where I got Dual Brain games from. Right from Gamma World. So it was a mutation in this RPG. So you had heightened intelligence, you add 4 points to the mutant's mental resistance rating, all that stuff. If you play RPGs, you know. And this edition was simple. Combat was fairly simple. It was not difficult to play. Now, of course, as a teenager, I mean, when I was reading all of this, it was like a college course. But I read everything carefully, more carefully than I was reading any school books at the time. So you have this physical attack matrix, right? So attacks by weapons, and you would just roll on here, and then you would see. So you have different, mental attack matrix as well, depending on your mental strength. It was just so cool. And then the weapons, right? The weapons damage table. It was pretty direct. Pretty direct. And then you have the encounters table here. And, of course, the different creatures. So there were a number of creatures that you could just pop into your adventures, right? A number of them. Cryptic alliances, Brotherhood of Thought, Seekers, Knights of Genetic Purity, Friends of Entropy, the Iron Society. We used to include all this stuff. Look, a poison matrix, radiation matrix, because the whole idea is that this is, a post-apocalyptic world. So these are cool, right? Because I remember we'd have to roll on here when we were trying to find items. Like if we located an artifact, we would have to roll on these to see if we knew how to use it. Like we would find a strange weapon or here, a defense armor, a missile, a bomb, grenades. And we had to roll on here and try to figure out with the rolls. I don't remember exactly how this chart works, but we could end up hurting ourselves too, But we would roll on here to try to... I'm trying to remember how this worked exactly. I don't want to read through this now, but... It says here, 5 rolls on any of the above charts requires that the player do nothing else but concentrate on and manipulate the artifact for 1 hour. Each additional player concentrating adds 1 die roll per hour. Players may spend as much time as they wish trying to figure out the artifacts, but if a session is interrupted or stopped for some reason, the player must begin again at start. Players with very high or low intelligence and certain mutations are given minuses or allowed pluses on the die rolls. I still don't know. Okay, chart A is for simple items such as pistols, bombs, and other items with only a few simple switches or operating mechanisms. I'm not sure how these charts work, though. I'm surprised I just completely forgot, because I don't see where it just gives you, you know, a spot where you figured it out. I can see where you can hurt yourself here, but various conditions due to their disuse. Okay. Till the players do something, everything might cause it to function. They will automatically know what it is for or how it works. It says here, once players have found an artifact, they will not automatically know what it is for or how it works. It's quite possible that one will fiddle with an artifact for weeks and never determine what it is. Or in the other extreme, detonate a bomb, eliminating everything within 100 meters. The 3 following charts are used to simulate experimentation with artifacts. So maybe on the next page it tells you. But anyway, you're probably not going to play this, but yeah, that's what you use these charts for. Now I'm kind of determined to find out. How does this work? I may have to look at this after I finish with this video. Call for harm. If a player discovers the use of an artifact and tries it out, the referee must roll percentile dice according to the artifact's chance of functioning to see whether anything happens. Anyway, if a result calls for harm, or if a player discovers the use of an artifact and tries it out, the referee must roll percentile dice according to the artifact's chance of functioning to see whether anything happens. It's possible to determine the use of an artifact even if it does not work because of its condition. Believe it or not, I still... I do remember when we were playing this that when we found an artifact, I remember we rolled on this a few times, but usually because we wanted to simplify things even further, if somebody found an artifact, you would just know what it is and be able to use it, right? We were teenagers, we were eating curry and watching wrestling on TV and having a good time, so we'd play this all night long. I mean, we would just play this all night long. Till 4 or 5 in the morning. And then, of course, because it was the weekend, you know, we would sleep until late. We did not use experience points. I do remember having my dad, you know, I don't remember if I bought this paper at the hobby shop or if he just copied the back of this, but I remember I would do my adventures on there, right? Not unlike this, right? You know, very much like that. And of course, you know, I mean, since this was the example of play, this is kind of what I used. I used to draw bushes like this, and then we would have different areas of roads that the characters would take, and of course inside buildings it was like this. So let's see what else. We had a campaign. We had campaigns. Yeah, so cool, man. Look at this. So cool. And then, of course, you know, these were all... what are these exactly? Monster and treasure listings. So we'd have these handy here. Poison Matrix, you know, the stuff you saw in the book, you know, because this came out of the back, right? You see the and for ease of viewing, instead of having to open the book all the time. Encounters table. We didn't really bother with metric conversions. I don't think. I don't remember us messing with that. So these are the, and then you had the common items that people would find, and artifact tables, right? We would roll on those. Physical attack, matrix, 1 and 2, mental attack, we didn't really play with fatigue factors, I don't think. We did play with armor, of course, weapons damage and weapons class. We did do that. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to reminisce for a moment here, since I was recently talking about Escape the Dark Sector, and some of the art in that game reminded me of some of the art in this, you know, black and white art. Right? Doesn't that look like Escape from Dark Sector? In fact, I have it right here. Right? So it's got that vibe. But there you have it. I just wanted to reminisce a little bit and tell you about Gamma World, the science fantasy role-playing game that I used to play back in the 80s a lot. There you have it.